Hey, how's it going, captains? Admirals over here, and welcome aboard for another World of Warships video on my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about the secret to becoming a successful high-ranking player on World of Warships. You know, everyone is posting videos about play this ship, this is the best ship, don't play this ship because this is a terrible ship, how to play this ship, how to become a real good player on World of Warship, and then achieve rank 1. Skill is something that most people like to think that is the most essential part or the key to success to reaching the highest rank in World of Warships. At the same time, a lot of people like to blame matchmaking because they always ask why do they get placed on the dumb team. Well, honestly, being a skillful player and also being lucky is pretty tough to pull off. I would say 10 to 20% of your games, you will get that lucky game where you're on a team where they're very skillful and at the same time, they know what they're doing. You're going to get those games where people don't have a clue what you're doing or what they're doing for themselves, and everything's just discombobulated. There's just no organization, no plan, and the entire team just collapsed in the rank. And I think that the most important part, the reason why there's a lot of those games where players who are supposedly, you know, when you get those moments where you're in a game and say for instance you're in a high ranking game in World of Warships, probably rank 10 and above, and you get placed against players who have the same rank, but for some odd reason you feel like the people are playing like they're at rank 15 or 20. Well, there is a reason why, and the reason is that they don't have the right mindset. Having the right psychology, having the right mentality, it's pretty important when it comes to playing rank. And I was watching a video recently. It was a video from a YouTuber named Warowl. He is a Counter-Strike Global Offensive YouTuber or any Counter-Strike content. He also does extra stuff. But he is a very competitive person. And he explains that one of the reasons why people have a hard time in rank, and this is something I knew, but he kind of clarifies it for most of us out there because not many people know about this, is that accepting a loss is the hardest challenge when it comes to playing rank. And the reason why is because we are pretty much threatened to lose something when we lose a game. You see, in random battles, for me, when I play random battles, I never really care about winning or losing because whether you win or lose is just the outcome. And I don't really lose that much when I lose a game. But when you play something like on the competitive level where you have a rank, and in order to succeed, you got to, you know, do well and be placed on a team that is competent enough. And when you get onto, you know, a losing streak, you start to become exhausted. And this is something that is referred as tilting. This is a term that used in League of Legends a lot during the League of Legends time of ranking, because League of Legends at one point was a huge game when it comes to ranking. You see streamers, you see YouTubers posting videos one after another, and the point was, I forgot what video from whatever YouTuber is, but somebody was talking about it, and I remember watching it, and he points out that when you play enough of rank, and you get those moments, there's going to be a moment, and I'm sure every player at some point, whatever game you play, whether you're the best player in the world, you're going to get this moment where you go on a losing streak. When you go on a losing streak, you start to lose your sanity. And when you lose your sanity, when people say, this guy's insane, the person who's insane doesn't realize he's insane. Now, when I say insane, it's not like you go crazy and do weird stuff that's pretty obvious. It's insanity on a very subtle level. And this is where the problem arises because it's very subtle. You don't realize that you're exhausted. When you're exhausted, when you're losing, what you're supposed to do is to stop playing. You're supposed to clear your mind, take a break, and resume whenever you feel competent or confident about playing rank again. Because when you're playing enough rank and you go on a losing streak, your mind is like very apathetic about your team, because we always think that the team is the problem to the game. I mean, when you do well, I mean, you don't say anything. But when you get to a game and you die to a torpedo, I love it when people blame me for their own problems. Like, say for instance, trying to take a top of my head, there's been plenty of instances like, Nagato, why do you go this way? You should have went the other way, even though he didn't say anything. You know, when people say didn't say anything in the chat and they just assume, and assuming is, chances are that when you assume, your assumptions will probably work 20 to 30% of the time. It's never always, and that's what people always think. They always assume that the person that's doing something, you assume that they would do the thing that you want them to do. You think that they have the same mind as you, but the truth is they don't. So when you assume and they do something that's the opposite and they die and they get you killed, whether they die or you get killed for it, you always want to blame. There was one game where there was a Gneisenau, and the Gneisenau was like fidgeting around, moving around a lot, going around with me, and he bumps into me all the time. It's like, what are you doing? We got a big line of ships, and he got hit by torpedoes the first set of waves. So after the first set of waves, he got hit by a torpedo. He circle around and he goes in front of me again. Like I'm right there. He knows I'm there, and he bumps into me, and then he got hit by a torpedo and he dies. And he blames me because I was in his way. But the truth is, he didn't take the mind. He didn't take his take a moment to think or use his mind to go around and think more. And the reason why is because his mind was too exhausted. It's just mindless. He was doing mindless thing. He doesn't care anymore. So when we start losing, we just stop trying. And if you haven't noticed, if you go on a losing streak, you tend to do worse and worse and worse. And if you try to fight it, you're just putting too much stress on yourself. You're way better off just stop playing rank, take a break, watch some YouTube videos, go internet researching, go outside, play a different game, play a game that you enjoy, and then get back on rank later. Because no matter, it's not always about the quantity, and that's what most people think. If you try enough of games, you will get to rank 1, and that is possible. But it's really about the quality, your quality play, your contribution to the team. And when I see people in queue, I play like 2 to 3 hours in the queue with my Nagato. I see the same people who in the beginning, the first hour, they were doing just fine, but then they end up on the losing team, and somehow they start to do worse and worse and worse. And it's because they're tilting. They are afraid to losing their rank, losing the game. Is this anxiety, which the video I was watching from Warowl, if you're interested, I'll link you guys in the description below to watch it. He makes a very good point. You are just weak. Your mind is weak. You don't have the courage to overcome your anxiety to lose. So when you think about losing, and when you lose your first 2 games, you start to worry. So, oh my gosh, if by 3rd game I'm going to lose, then how am I supposed to reach rank 1? If you keep thinking that, if you don't relax, stay calm, you start to make mistakes. And when you start to make mistakes, when you want to win, when you really desire to win, you start to rush. When you start to rush, you start to make more mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you don't think, and you start become insane in the game. Well, like I said, not total insanity, but you're not yourself anymore as you were when you were fresh off the boat. In terms of trying to win the game, when you just get off the boat and you're entering a land of new players, you're facing different players, you're not really there to encourage to be the rightful minds, and eventually the worst thing that could happen is you start blaming your team, and that's what most people resort to, or you just start doing stupid stuff. Believe it or not, if you don't believe me, take a moment to play some rank. When you get into the losing streak, start recording. Start recording all the games that you go on the losing streak and start watching them. Just watch how you play, and you will just realize that what you just have done was rush, didn't think. Start to feel that feeling that you should blame your teammate, whether it's saying to yourself or saying out there in the chat, being not constructive. And the 3 things, the 3 things that I value in rank is, number 1, collaboration. If you can't communicate with your teammates, how are you supposed to win a team-based game? Number 2, having a brain, in terms of having the right intelligence to go in rank. I see people, for some odd reason, they're in my rank of 20-ish to 15, bring a stock Colorado into a game. I mean, a stock Colorado in rank match, that doesn't really belong there unless you're really good. It wasn't just one case. There was plenty of stock Colorados. I was pretty surprised that these people who bring stock Colorados who's trying to win the rank game didn't really have the right mind to begin with, at least a intelligence of bringing a good ship to, or not a good ship, but a actual ship, like a prepared ship, being prepared to go in. And number 3, being the right person, being a role model to your team. There's just really not many people out there who are good role models. The role model today is being the toxic player. You yell at your team. If you're just like that, if you're just negative all the time, people are not gonna listen to you. Number 1, number 2, nobody really cares about you, and number 3, you're gonna start losing. And you're just gonna be pretty much depressed and being angry. You're just gonna be a grumpy person. Being grumpy is not fun to me at all. And if you don't, become the good role model, if you don't ease the weight off your shoulders, you're just going to lose game after game after game and just get so frustrated. Those are 3 things that I expect a player who has a moderate intelligence, the right mind to go in the game prepared with the right tools, being a collaborative type of person, cooperate, listen to people, suggest things. Don't assume, for God's sakes, please don't assume. When people assume, oh, I assume you to do this and you didn't do it, it's your fault, this is why we lose the game. Well, the truth is, if you're that type of person, you're just adding more problems to your list, and you're the only reason why you're losing the game, because it's not just you who's losing the game. You're pretty much bringing the team down. And 3, just be the right person. Try to enjoy. This is a game, and you know for a fact that at some point you're going to be losing if you can't enjoy. If you can't enjoy, your mind's going to be exhausted. If your mind's exhausted, you're going to be worried about your rank, and eventually you lose the game. And that's the truth. I think that is the most important thing when it comes to ranking. And I'm pretty sure most people, like I said, they think skill, they think, being lucky. To me, when I jump in the rank game, if I go on a losing streak, I just stop. I just really do stop. Get off and find some videos. I just enjoy watching people playing games, so I go on YouTube. And when I see people happy, it encourages me to be more of a positive person, more of a person who approaches things differently. And when my mind is, back to the sanity, the regular, normal state, I jump back on World Warships, and what do you know? I start to win again, started to win more, and then when I lose again, I just stop. Trust me, if you take this method, you will win more games. And whether you're good or bad, like I said, I don't really care how skillful you are. People who are really good at the game but don't give a shit or don't care, I prefer a player who's just decent, if not bad, but understands, listens to me. If I ask a destroyer player who's not really good at torpedoing, who's not really good with gunboating, but if I ask him that, you should go B because everyone's at A, and he listens, if he trusts me, if you have trust with somebody who's willing to listen to you and you listen to them, then you build this positive model where you're working together. You have 2 people against one person who's just pissed off, doesn't care, does things, and even if he's good and he doesn't listen to you and he's on top of the leaderboard, he's just not really the person that you enjoy playing with. That's the truth. I enjoy it more thoroughly. I thoroughly enjoy when I play games where teams talk, enjoy the game, actually enjoy the game. The purpose of the game was to enjoy. I know for a fact that ranking is a serious thing when it comes to business, trying to get your rank. But the point is that if you can't enjoy the game, you're not going to have a successful road to rank 1. I mean, it's the same way as someone who study in a particular field and get a career in that field, but they don't like what they're doing. What's the point going to work every day when you don't like what you're doing? You're better off finding something that you enjoy doing, even though you get less of a reward in terms of cash. Something that you get from that particular job, but you're going to be doing it for the rest of your life. So would you rather be, happy to do the reward to being happy to enjoy for the rest of your life of doing it, even though you won't get the great amount of cash or the great amount of rewards that you want? Or would you rather to live, a life where it's just you're just frustrated every day at work, you don't like what you're doing, you don't like the customers, it's not you. And finding that doorway is really tough for a lot of people. So if you just take a moment to think and calm down, man. Come on. I play games where I rush my shots, but if you watch the gameplay in the background, I'm pretty sure you will see my gameplay. I take my time. I take my time with the Nagato. I see ships broadside. I think where I'm going. I don't rush in because I'm not eager to trying to get the game over with. I take my time, think what I'm doing, look at what my team is doing, be constructive as much as possible. If my team is doing something and I'm assuming it, type in the chat. It's like, hey, stop moving. Don't assume that they will stop moving. They will go forward at some point. Just chillax. Come on now. Just take a deep breath. Enjoy the game. And at some point, no matter where you go, no matter how long it takes for you to reach the high ranks, you know, sometimes people who are successful aren't always successful to what they want. You can consider yourself successful, but you won't get what you want. But at the end, if you still consider yourself successful, like reaching rank 3 or rank 2, even though you won't be able to get rank 1, you're dissatisfied, at least you have the right mind. And next time, there's plenty of seasons to go down the road. There's plenty of time. There's plenty of chances. You will get that success. You continue that, that motto. And the next time, with your developed experience from the previous season, you understand what you're making the mistakes. You're not good enough to reach rank 1. The next season, you're more than capable of reaching rank 1. You have a better chance because, number 1, you already have the right mindset, having the positive mind. And number 2, you have the previous experience from the last season. You understand why you didn't reach rank 1. So this season, in hopes that you actually improve, you'll reach rank 1. So aside from that, I hope you guys enjoy this commentary. This is something that I don't understand why people who really do value winning, when you value winning too much, if you're held hostage of winning, if your rank is holding you hostage, you're just gonna be depressed. You're just gonna be losing. You're gonna be worried too much. It's not good for your mind at all. Being more open, being more friendly. I mean, in today's society, it sounds really tedious. Nobody's friendly at each other. That's the truth. But if you practice it, if you continue to do it, if it becomes a habit of yourself, if you build yourself to be this particular model, trust me, whether people accept your friendliness or not, you feel much better than you were before, because at least you got something positive in your mind. You're not pushing yourself to become very depressed or angry, because being an angry person is not fun to play with. Which is one of the reasons why I talked about this in my other video, where there's people out there who are just serious. They're not the same model as you. And if you're that serious type of person, do whatever you want. If you believe that being serious, being angry, being commanding to players and blaming everything, the world, whoever you ask, there's always people who oppose your beliefs. And this is my belief. I just truly believe being a positive person, being likable. I just prefer to play with people who collaborate, people who are nice. And a game that is lost with people who are nice to you is much more memorable than a game where you almost lost but you yet win because one particular guy or two people who are extremely toxic, yelling in the chat, saying that your team is noob or whatever the case is, call you out, makes you, even though you win the game, it shoves it down your mind that you hate those people. You really do, because they don't really respect you. Respecting your team, respecting your abilities, and collaborating, and ultimately enjoying the game. This is a video game. You're supposed to enjoy the game. You're not supposed to put stress on yourself. You're supposed to come home from a long day, jump onto Warships, rank. Yeah, ranking is business, but that doesn't mean that you can't have fun. Having fun is the ultimate goal of video games, and if you can't have fun, you do better, and pretty much in the future, hopefully you will reach your goal. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on World of Warships.